Journey to the peaceful shores of Tybee Island, where gentle waves roll onto wide, sandy beaches, and the steady beam of a historic lighthouse sweeps quietly across the evening sky. Inspired by the timeless comfort of the coast and the reassuring rhythm of the sea, this peaceful sleep story invites you to wander moonlit shorelines, climb winding lighthouse stairs, and pause in places where the world feels calm and unhurried. As you explore the island, you'll be gently reminded that you don't have to see the entire journey at once, only the next step before you. You're listening to Tybee Island Lighthouse. Welcome to the Whispering Willow. I'm Diana, and I'm so happy you're here. Tonight, we'll wander along moonlit beaches beneath the watchful beam of an old lighthouse and into the peaceful rhythm of the sea. Find a comfortable position. Allow your shoulders to soften. Let your jaw relax. Allow your hands to rest somewhere that feels natural. Maybe on your heart and abdomen. Maybe beside you. Notice the surface that supports you. Feel its comfort and its strength. Notice how it makes you feel secure. Take one deep breath, beginning to notice the smell of the salty sea air. Exhaling long and steady, releasing everything that happened today, everything that feels tight or heavy. Take 2 more deep breaths in and out, breathing in peace and relaxation, breathing out any thoughts of today or tomorrow, allowing your body to settle and still. And as your breathing begins to slow and settle into a natural rhythm, we will begin the story. It's been a long time since you visited the sea. The drive is quieter than you remembered. The mainland has already begun to fade behind you. Buildings grow fewer. The spaces between them grow wider. Ahead, a long bridge stretches across the water. You guide your car onto it just as the evening begins settling over the coast. The sky is painted in artist's colors: faded gold, soft lavender, pale peach lingering along the horizon. Below the bridge, broad marshes spread outward in every direction. Their winding channels reflect the sky like ribbons of glass. The water appears perfectly still. Only occasionally does a small ripple catch the last of the sunlight. You lower the window slightly, longing for the smell of something other than the city. Warm air drifts inside. It carries the scent of salt water, sun-warmed grasses, and something difficult to name. Something clean and open, like space. Can space have a smell, you wonder? You take a slow breath and another. The farther you travel across the bridge, the farther away everything else begins to feel. Not forgotten or abandoned, simply more distant. Set aside for a time. The emails can wait. The decisions can wait. The questions can wait. The things you haven't solved yet can remain where they are. And for now, that feels nice. The bridge continues forward, steady and certain. As you cross it, you feel a sense that you are leaving one thing behind for something else, something different. And a change sounds nice, you think. You do not need to know what lies beyond the next bend. The road reveals itself one stretch at a time. And somehow that feels comforting, maybe even exciting. A pelican glides across the water below. Its wings hardly move. It seems less like flying and more like trusting the air to carry it. The sight stays with you. No struggle, no hurry. Only movement, only trust. The bridge begins its gentle descent. Ahead, Tybee Island waits quietly in the fading light. And without realizing it, you've already begun to slow down. After settling into the island's quiet evening rhythm, you find yourself walking along a sandy path. The air has cooled slightly now, enough to feel refreshing against your skin. Above you, the first stars are beginning to appear, one by one. Ahead, rising beyond the trees, you see the Tybee Lighthouse. Tall, distinctive, and steady. Its black and white tower reaches into the darkening sky, and every few moments, its light sweeps across the horizon, then disappears, then returns again. You continue walking toward it. The beam passes briefly across the path, illuminating a small stretch ahead, then moves on, leaving darkness behind. As you watch the steady rhythm of the lighthouse, you notice something. The lighthouse never lights the entire coastline at once. Not even close. Most of the night remains untouched by its beam. Most of the ocean remains hidden from view. And yet ships have trusted that light for generations. Not because it reveals everything, but because it reveals enough. Enough to continue safely, enough to move forward, enough for the next step. You stop for a moment and watch the beam turn again, a bright arc across the darkness. Then it disappears, then returns again. And you begin to wonder how often you've expected more from yourself. How often you've believed you should already know everything. How often you've demanded certainty before allowing yourself to rest. Yet the lighthouse teaches a different lesson. It simply offers what it can, one stretch of light at a time, and somehow that has always been enough. Leaving the lighthouse behind, you follow a sandy path toward the shoreline. The evening has deepened now. The sky overhead has become a rich blue, somewhere between day and night. A few stars shimmer above the horizon. The air smells of salt and sea grass. Ahead, North Beach stretches wide and quiet beneath the fading light. You step onto the sand and begin to walk. The beach is peaceful at this hour. Most visitors have returned to their cottages and porches. The sounds of the day have softened. Only the waves remain, steady, rhythmic, and patient. The tide moves in gentle breaths, arriving, retreating, arriving, retreating. As you walk, you notice pieces of driftwood scattered across the sand. Some are small and smooth, worn pale by years of sun and water. Others are larger, twisted into graceful shapes that almost resemble sculptures. You pause beside one that rests near the water's edge. Its surface is polished by countless tides. Its edges have been softened, its shape transformed, and yet there is nothing broken about it. In fact, it seems beautiful precisely because of its journey. You crouch beside it for a moment, running your hand lightly along the weathered wood. Somewhere in its past, it may have been part of a tree standing far from the coast. It may have weathered storms, crossed rivers, traveled miles upon miles of open water. It could not have known where the currents would carry it. It could not have seen the entire journey ahead. It simply moved with what came next. One current, the next current, the next tide, one day at a time. You let your hand rest there for another quiet moment. A wave reaches the driftwood, then slips gently away again. But the wood remains exactly where it is, peaceful and still. As you continue along the shoreline, you begin to wonder how often you have wished you could see farther ahead, how often you have wanted certainty before taking the next step. Yet very little in nature works that way, you realize. The tides do not know the shape of every shore they will touch. The birds do not see every mile of their migration. Even the stars appear one at a time as darkness deepens. Perhaps life has never required complete visibility. Perhaps it has only ever asked for trust in the next step, the next breath, the next moment. A wave rolls softly onto the shore, then slips away again, and you continue walking beneath the widening sky. The shoreline curves gently ahead. The sand here is smooth and undisturbed. The ocean continues its steady conversation with the shore, wave after wave, softly arriving, then retreating. As you walk, something catches your attention. A small protected area rests slightly above the tide line. Wooden markers stand in the sand around it, simple and unobtrusive. A place being carefully watched over. You pause, not moving closer, simply observing. Beneath the sand, hidden from view, a sea turtle nest rests in the darkness. Tiny lives wait there, unseen, silent, growing. There is no movement on the surface, no sign that anything remarkable is taking place. And yet, beneath the sand, life continues its quiet work. Patiently, naturally, in its own time. Weeks from now, when the moment is right, the hatchlings will emerge. They will leave the only world they have ever known. They will cross the beach beneath the night sky. They will move toward the brightest horizon they can see, guided by the light of the moon. Not because they understand what's waiting beyond, simply because that light is enough for their next step. You lift your eyes toward the water. Moonlight now shimmers across the sea, a silver pathway stretching into the distance. It occurs to you that not everything important announces itself. Some things are taking shape long before they can be seen. Roots deepen beneath the soil. Seeds awaken beneath the earth. And beneath this quiet stretch of sand, an entire journey is already beginning. You draw a slow breath. The evening breeze brushes across your face. Some questions remain unanswered. Some decisions still lie ahead. Some paths have yet to reveal themselves. But beneath the wide night sky, they all feel a little less urgent. Not everything needs to be visible before it can be real, you think. Not everything needs to be understood before it can unfold. For now, there is only this beach, this breeze, this moonlit sea. And that feels like enough. You remain there for another quiet moment, then continue walking along the shoreline. The beach grows wider as you approach the northern tip of the island. The lighthouse now stands behind you. Its beam continues its slow rotation, appearing, disappearing, returning once more. Ahead, the shoreline narrows into a quiet point where two great bodies of water meet. The Savannah River flows toward the sea. The Atlantic stretches endlessly beyond. Different waters, different journeys, meeting here beneath the stars. You walk toward the edge of the sand. The waves feel different in this place. Longer, gentler, as though the river and the sea have entered into a peaceful conversation, a quiet understanding. You stop just where the water reaches the shore. The cool tide brushes your feet, then slips away again. You watch the darkness stretching across the water. Much of it remains hidden from view. The river, too, disappears into shadow. The ocean vanishes beyond the horizon. The night reveals only pieces, and yet nothing feels uncertain. Nothing feels unsafe. The lighthouse beam sweeps across the water. For a brief moment, a section of the sea glows silver white. Then darkness returns, and the light moves on, only to return again a few moments later. It reveals only a small stretch of water at a time, never the whole sea, only a piece. You think about all the things people ask of themselves, the answers they seek, the certainty they crave, the pressure to know exactly what comes next, what decision is right, what future awaits, what outcome lies ahead. Another wave reaches your feet. The lighthouse turns once more. Its light touches the water, then passes on. The ocean remains just as vast, just as mysterious. The lighthouse remains just as steady, neither diminished by what the other cannot do. One offers mystery, the other offers light. Together, they have guided countless travelers through the darkness. You watch the beam return once more, steady and faithful, never revealing everything, always revealing enough. You do not need the entire horizon tonight. You do not need next month, next year, not even tomorrow. All you need is this moment, this breath, this small circle of light. And perhaps that has always been enough. For a long while, you simply stand there, thinking about this, listening to the water, watching the light, feeling the night hold both mystery and reassurance, noticing how they exist together, understanding that's okay. And for the first time in a long while, you understand yourself. You find yourself completely at ease with not knowing what lies beyond the horizon. And it feels incredibly freeing, bringing a peace you didn't even realize you were missing. Eventually, you turn away from the water, not because there is somewhere else you need to be, only because the evening seems to be guiding you somewhere different. A narrow path curves through the marsh grasses. Moonlight rests across the winding channels, turning the water into ribbons of silver. You follow the path at an easy pace, enjoying the grasses swaying with the breeze, back and forth, their quiet rhythm almost hypnotic. The air has grown cooler now, fresh against your skin, the kind of coolness that invites a deeper breath. The ocean remains nearby. Its distant waves drift across the marsh, softer now, as though the landscape has gathered every sound and gently settled it into silence. Here, another kind of quiet begins to emerge. Not the quiet of an empty place, but the quiet of a living one. The reeds continue their slow conversation with the wind. Tiny ripples move through the moonlit channels. Somewhere in the distance, a night bird calls. Then even that sound fades. You slow without meaning to, your own steps growing quieter. Your breathing settles into the same easy rhythm as the grasses. For a little while, there is nothing to accomplish, nothing to solve, nothing to remember. Only the cool night air, the silver water, the steady sound of your footsteps. Ahead, a great blue heron stands motionless at the edge of a tidal pool, its reflection resting beside it in the still water. For several moments, neither seems to move. Bird and reflection, moon and water. Almost impossible to tell where one ends and the other begins. You watch for a little while, then continue along the winding trail. Without realizing it, your thoughts have grown quieter too. The kind that arrive, then drift away again, leaving only the peaceful traces and rhythms of the night. The marsh continues around you, wide and open, unhurried, as though it has all the time in the world. In fact, time here seems to have stood still. By the time the path begins to curve once more, your body feels lighter, your breathing slower, and your mind as calm as the moonlit water beside you. At the end of the marsh path, you see a small cottage waiting quietly among the sea oats. Its windows glow with warm golden light, welcoming, the kind of light that seems to say, "You've come far enough for today." You walk toward it. The wooden porch creaks softly beneath your feet. A rocking chair rests beside the door, moving ever so slightly in the breeze, as though someone had just stepped inside moments before. You open the door and enter. The cottage feels peaceful immediately. Warm wood floors, soft linen curtains, simple furnishings, everything arranged with care. Nothing excessive or fussy. The windows are open. Salt air drifts through the rooms. The distant sound of waves enters with it. A slow, steady rhythm that feels woven into the very walls of this place. You move through the cottage at an unhurried pace. A lamp glows softly beside a comfortable chair. A small table sits nearby. A woven blanket rests folded across its arm. In the kitchen, a kettle sits cooling on the stove. The lingering scent of tea remains in the air. Chamomile and honey. Something comforting, something familiar. You carry none of the morning's urgency with you now. Somewhere between the lighthouse and the shoreline, somewhere between the turtle nest and the marsh path, you have set it down. And now something inside you has softened. The need to know, the need to plan, the need to have every answer before tomorrow arrives. The questions that felt so close when the evening began now seem very far away. You step into the bedroom. A large window faces the ocean. Beyond it, the night stretches quietly toward the horizon. The bed is dressed in cool white linens. The sheets look impossibly soft, the kind of bed that invites rest before you even lie down. You sit on the edge for a moment, listening. The waves, the breeze, the faint rustle of sea oats outside. And then, through the open window, you see the lighthouse beam far in the distance. Its light sweeps across the darkness, briefly illuminating the room, then fading once more. A few moments later, it returns, then fades. Steady and faithful. You watch it for a while. Somehow it feels different now. Familiar and comforting. Like a friend. The beam passes once more, then fades. And for the first time you can remember, the unknown no longer feels threatening. It feels peaceful, like unopened pages in a book you do not need to read tonight. And you understand tomorrow will arrive in its own time. Tonight is for resting. You settle beneath the covers. The linens are cool and smooth against your skin. Comfortable, supportive, and safe. Outside, the ocean continues its endless rhythm. Waves arriving, waves receding. Your breath begins to follow the same gentle pattern, slowly and naturally, without any effort. The lighthouse beam appears once more, a soft glow crossing the room, then fading into the quiet of the night. Each passing sweep feels familiar now, a gentle reminder that you are exactly where you need to be. Tonight there is nowhere else to go, nothing left to accomplish, nothing that must be solved before sleep can come. The night asks nothing of you. The sea asks nothing of you. You sink a little deeper into the mattress. Your shoulders soften. Your arms grow pleasantly heavy. Your legs relax completely. One breath follows another, easy, unhurried. The lighthouse turns. The waves roll gently toward the shore, then quietly away again. Your breath follows, in and out. You need not see the whole journey tonight. Only this breath, this quiet room, this peaceful moment. The beam sweeps softly across the room. Then darkness returns, not empty, but calm, gentle, protective. The kind of darkness that welcomes rest. Outside, the sea keeps its patient rhythm, steady and unchanging, just as the lighthouse continues its quiet watch. Your thoughts grow softer now, like distant lights along the shoreline. There is no need to follow them. They can simply drift by. The lighthouse turns. The ocean breathes. The night grows still. Tomorrow will arrive in its own time. Tonight belongs to rest. So you allow yourself to drift, carried by the rhythm of the sea, comforted by the quiet turning of the light, trusting that morning will bring its own light. And until then, you rest as the lighthouse turns, as the tide moves beneath the stars, as the waves continue their endless rhythm. You drift, slowly, naturally, into sleep.